Okay, so we're good to go. Wonderful.
All right.
Yes. So, welcome everyone. This is Between the Lines radio show with your favorite host, Corinne Lafont. And I'm broadcasting from the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago to be specific. And I have with me Robert Crown, and he's the author of a fantastic book. And I named the title of this episode, Rising from the Ashes, and you will know why in a while. But the reason why I termed it Rising from the Ashes too is because I noticed that he used the, what that bird really call it? The phoenix.
Yes.
Yes, the phoenix. And the phoenix is a very powerful bird that rises from the ashes. Yeah, ball of flame. So he must be a ball of flame here now. We're going to be on fire here and sharing some sensitive information. He's very open to sharing his journey so far. And I want to just give you a little insight into Robert Crown. He sent me a nice bio, but in reading up about him, I think, looking at the information that he shared, I wanted to go a little bit deeper and just sort of paraphrase as I go along what he shared with me. So Robert, he has lived through physical abuse by his parents. As he said, the adults who is supposed to love and nurture you. He has struggled with issues of self-esteem, anger, and underachievement. But he's not typical, as he says, because he's the survivor of an attempted premeditated murder by his own mother. It happened when he was 11, and needless to say, it took him decades to move past it. Just in case anybody don't know what a decade is, it's 10 years, and he said decades. So it is more than 10 years. The story of his journey out of the darkness and into a happy, productive life is the one he tells in his memoir of self-transformation. Suffering Ends When Awakening Begins, the title of his book. His name is Robert Crown. And he really thinks, my audience here will find inspiration in his extremely arduous but rewarding journey. And this is why I have him on my show today, because I was so impressed with what he's willing to talk about, because most people don't really like to share these things. He says, like many adult survivors for years, it seemed everything he tried and do turned to garbage. And I'm sure persons who will be listening to this episode will be able to identify with that in some way or another. And he's talking about in his work, his romantic life, and in his friendships. As a teen, he was a runaway, a victim of sexual abuse, a homeless person, and a lost soul. I think we can sum all of that up as a lost soul. Two of the people who meant the most to him in the world died in a car crash, seemingly to give him the chance to make good on the promise of his life. As a young adult and even as a middle-aged man, he doesn't look so people. He's quite handsome if you're looking at him. He lost his way continually, but over and over again, an unseen force guiding him away from ultimate disaster. He finally found the key to unlocking the promise in the law of attraction, which I firmly believe in, using thought and imagination to create a new reality for himself, heal his wounds, and manifest the success he has craved in his life. His difficult journey has included his own hard work and the help of people who love him. He refers to Michael Beckwith, author of Spiritual Liberation and Life Visioning, and who is featured in the film The Secret. I Know About The Secret, has said about his book that Robert Crown not only shares the intensity of his outer life story, but also the intimacy of the inner journey. He took us a spiritual warrior, determined to be victorious through an evolution of consciousness from the inside out. Very provocative words and words to think about. Today, he has a wife and 4 fabulous children. His relationships are loving and positive. He has broken the cycle of abuse that plagued so many families for generations. He also runs a successful real estate brokerage. He's been a volunteer worker with youth, seniors, and in-service organizations. He's been a member of Toastmasters, of which I have been a member too, and he has served on the board of directors of the local Chamber of Commerce. He says, have I made it? My life isn't perfect, and there are still many things I'd like to accomplish, but he's living proof that the damage of childhood abuse can be overcome. His purpose in writing his story has been to get the word out that not only is healing possible, but that by harnessing our thoughts and imaginations, we can thrive and create a life of true happiness. And if he can do it, anybody can. My goodness, Robert. This is certainly going to be more than 30 minutes.
Well, that's fine. Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, welcome to the show. Now let's get straight into it. Now, Robert, I don't want to start from the beginning. I'm going to start from the law of attraction. Why the law of attraction was the
Just going to turn this up a little bit.
Why the law of attraction was the key to you turning around your life? Let's start there.
Why the law of attraction was the key? Well, first, it was the key for me to be self-destructive and for my life to be in shambles. But what I realized when I finally stopped and thought about it, and that's when my family and I became homeless in 2007, I realized that my thinking was corrupt and perverted in the sense that I would always focus on the negative and not the positive, like what could go wrong instead of what could go right, right?
That's right.
And when I was thinking those thoughts, in order to manifest something, affirmations are fine, but you need that energized emotion to go with it. So I was having that energized emotion, but it was of the negative kind.
Yeah.
So the law of attraction was really working for me in that sense, but it was working in reverse because I was attracting all that negativity into my life.
That's right. That's right.
So what I finally realized, I started watching stuff. The Secret was the first movie when we were, after we had packed up our van and had no money, I had $100. I got my 4 kids in the car and my wife, and it was like, okay, what do we do now? Talk about a feeling. But we ended up moving somewhere and living in the house I was selling. But The Secret was the first movie that I watched. And I found it very interesting because I realized that I was using that. And some of the stuff really stuck with me. What Bob Proctor said stuck with me. What Michael Beckwith said at the end especially stuck with me. And I find it really incredible that he was able to endorse my book as well. But what he said in the end was like, if you begin to think properly, and that really stuck with me. So I realized I wasn't thinking properly. Even so with that, it still took me another 5 years to really start getting it even more and more because I thought about it in a quick way, but then I didn't really start practicing it until later on.
Yeah.
Like I said in my book, I'm a slow learner. So, but I realized that it was my thoughts that I needed to change to create my reality. So I finally got it, and I started looking into all sorts of different things, Bob Proctor, Joe Dispenza, what to believe, all this different information. Concept therapy is where Bob Proctor started. He got his little stickman from concept therapy.
I know. I'm a follower of Bob Proctor. I'm a follower.
Oh, great.
He coaches me. I attend his trainings, his recent summit. I know.
Yeah, so he got that from Thurman Fleet, which is the chiropractor that started concept therapy about the subconscious mind and then the conscious mind.
Right.
So I just decided I wanted to go to the source and get the information myself.
That's right.
So I eventually realized that my thinking was corrupt. And so I needed to start thinking properly. And instead of thinking negatively, I started thinking properly. And as soon as I did that, my life started to turn around. Even so, earlier in my life, I realized that it was still working for me because when I was a child, I won a bicycle, right? Because when I was in that store, I imagined that bicycle being mine. I wanted it. I saw it.
Yeah.
When I was in my early 20s, I won a truck, and I saw that truck. I went there. I saw it. I thought what I would do to it. I would put a radio in there, another window in the back, and I thought that's going to be mine. My wife thought I was crazy.
That's okay.
But I won the truck, right?
Crazy is in.
Yes, it is. It's the new normal.
Yeah.
So anyway, I realized I was doing it already, but I didn't realize it. Yeah. But when I started doing it intentionally, then I knew that what I was doing. So the house that we're living in right now, I believe I got it the same way by the law of attraction, about creating my reality, about wanting a house, for a permanent home for my family.
Yes.
And I believe I did that through the law of attraction.
I want to kind of stop you there for a minute. You're saying a couple of things that I want to hit on.
Okay.
You're saying that when you realize you were thinking it. So it's
Right.
not that we don't think, some people don't think positive thoughts. It may be fleeting. It may just be an inspired moment that comes in and your emotions are tied to it. But you said it became intentional. So you move from it just being an inspired thought to it being intentional. In other words, you became more aware of yourself. You became more conscious of the thoughts that were coming in, and you're like, yeah, this is possible. I can make this possible. I'm going to continue thinking this. So the key there for persons listening is to really become more aware, more conscious, and realize that you need to have intention behind it. Yeah?
Yes.
Have intention. Now, what you have been through, I'm listening to you, I've read your bio, and I'm saying to myself, you were in such a deep, dark place, as you call yourself a lost soul. There are many lost souls out there, Robert. I call them walking deads. They are just, yeah, they are walking deads. I look at people, I sit down and I watch people with a different set of eyes, because the eyes that I have is not the same as everybody else. And it is not to make myself sound aloof. It is because my consciousness and awareness, they are not at that level yet.
Right.
They don't have that vision, that eye to see. So when I look at people, I can tell they're totally unhappy. When they look at me, they're like, she's crazy. Why are you so why are you so happy? Why are you smiling all the time? Why? And I'm like, why not? You what? You want me to be sad, quarrelsome? I laugh at everything. I find the positive in everything. I turn things around to get joy out of. And if something is not bringing joy and happiness to me are two different things. You can be happy, but joy is like a higher state of happiness. Where it's like you're just bubbling. Yes.
Right.
Blissful. And so if something doesn't bring joy to me, I delete it.
Right.
People say, how do you delete? I'm like, let me show you. I take the phone and I say, you see this button right here? You just press it. It's easy as that. Delete and block.
Right. There you go.
It's very easy.
Right.
I turn off my phone at night. At a certain time in the day, at the end of the day, I turn off my phone and spend time meditating so that I can tap into source. Some people say, how you turn off your phone? I'm like, let me show you. I take the phone and I say, you see this button here? You press it. It turns off the phone.
Delete. Yeah.
People are just connected too much to the wrong things as opposed to tapping into who they are.
Yeah, they're programmed.
Yeah, exactly. They're programmed, and this is why they are walking dead. Right. They are just robotic beings.
They're sleeping, yes.
They're sleeping. Now, you being in a situation like this, somebody listening or have been in a situation, somebody listening would say, how the hell did you wake up from being a lost soul? You don't just was about to be murdered by your mother, go through sexual abuse, the people who were close to you died. I mean, you're just surrounded by total negativity. You're consumed, you're enveloped by this thing. And all of a sudden, you just turn around your life. How do you make that transition? While law of attraction worked for you as a key, how did you realize in that deep state of darkness where some people cannot come out of at all? How do you realize, or how did you realize that to make that transition? What? I'm trying to get to that point.
How did you wake up?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Because some people not waking up at all.
Right. And that's okay. You know, everybody's at where they're at. I mean, that's where I was at. And it's hard, it's frustrating, but you know, people are going to wake up when it's time. It took me a long time to wake up. I think one of the things that you said, Corinne, is you have to become more aware. I think that's the first step. But also, I think there's signs along the way. And what I was writing in my book, in one of the chapters, I wrote surrendered, firestorm needed for surrender.
Mm-hmm.
And what that basically means is that all along there were signs for me to wake up.
Yeah.
You know, like I call it the call, you know, or that inner voice or whatever. But I just kept ignoring that stuff. I didn't pay attention to it. No, that's not right. You know, no, I can't do that. You know, no, this doesn't mean anything. But everything that happens from our higher self is trying to contact us and tell us or guide us, and we don't pay attention. Just have a real simple example. One is that I went to the hardware store and I had to get a screw for something I was working on at home. Walked outside, was walking to my car, and I dropped the screw. And then I picked it up and walked to my car, and then I dropped it again. And I got in my car and I thought, wait a minute, why did I drop that screw 2 times?
Yeah.
So I looked at the screw closely and I noticed this isn't the right screw. So my hardware store is, 15-minute drive for me. But the fact is that, all these signs in our life, something's always trying to tell us. We always have to be aware of what's going on in our life.
Yeah.
So for me, I was getting signs, to wake up. I was getting the signs or to take chances and to make my life better, but I wasn't taking advantage of them. I wasn't listening to the signs.
Why?
So
Why don't we listen to the signs? What do we need? Something to knock us up in the back of our head?
I think a lot has to do with our belief system, what we believe about ourselves, how we look at ourselves, our own self-worth, our own self-esteem, how we were brought up. If we disempower ourselves and put our faith in something else instead of ourselves, if we don't love ourselves, these are all ways that we disempower ourselves. So how could this be a sign for me? How could this be somebody, my higher self, telling me that, it's time to change or it's time to open your eyes?
Yeah.
We have to pay attention to what's going on in our life.
And sometimes we feel that we don't deserve it.
Right.
I just deserve to die. I'm useless. Yeah. There's no purpose.
Yeah, it's not true. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody has something. You're here to have the experiences that you're experiencing.
Yes.
Society has really conformed us in a way to think that, we have to think about fear. We don't believe in ourselves. We're always comparing. We're always judging. We're always jealous.
Yeah.
So when those things happen, when fear happens, it's disempowering. It makes us want to rely on the government or whatever, religion or whatever it is, something outside of us instead of within ourselves.
What's inside? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on forgiveness? Your mother tried to murder your behind. Yeah. I'm like, your own mother, Robert. Is she alive today?
Yes, my mother is alive, and she was just over for Thanksgiving here. So we get along fabulously. I mean, I love my mother dearly, and
how did you know she was trying to murder you? How old were you then?
I was 11 years old. So, you want me to explain? Okay. Yes. So I was 11. It was back in 1972. I believe it was 73, right in there. And we were getting up for school just like another day. We're a suburban family in the 70s. So we got up for school that day. My mother said, you guys, you're not going to go to school today. We're going to go see a show instead. Wow. We all were really excited. All right, no school. Woohoo!
Wow, yeah.
So my mom said, I'm going to go out and get gas for the car, and then I'll be back. Yeah. So my mom got back. She backed the car in the garage, closed the garage door, came inside, went upstairs, and said, does anybody want some ice cream? Now we live in a split level house. I live probably maybe 15 miles from where I do now. And so when you walk in the house, there's the living room, and then a dining room, and then the kitchen straight ahead. And then
Right.
you go up 5 stairs to the bedroom, and then you go down 5, and that's the
Yes.
basement area. And then you
Right.
go across the basement, and then you walk up a few stairs to the garage.
Right.
So my mom asked us if we wanted ice cream. We all said sure. So
Of
I go up to,
course. Who would say no to that?
yeah, right. Who would say no? Well, this was going to be a great day, right?
Of course. Movies and ice cream. No school.
Yeah. What more could you want?
Right.
So we got our ice cream, and I go, Mom, what are those little things in my ice cream? I don't recognize that. What's that thing with the S on it? She just said, oh, that just means you're special. So then I got my ice cream, went downstairs, finished it with my sisters. A little while later, my mom came down with a blanket, hammer, and nails. And I said, whoa, what's that for? And she said, like with a cold, empty glare, that this is a surprise for your dad when he gets home. So she nailed the blanket up against the doorway. And then she went out the garage and started the car. And then went out the back door. We got an access door around the back, and then she went around the back of the house. So then we're in there, and then all of a sudden, you know, the fumes start, you know, billowing in from the garage, right? So I can taste, you know, the filthy carbon monoxide in my mouth and inside my nose. So I'm telling my mom, the car's ready, you know, let's go. Can we go now? You know, and there's no response. So then all of a sudden I start becoming woozy and sick, you know, and I realized that, you know, something's very wrong here.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really a bright kid. I mean, this was the 70s. I was really naive as heck. So all of a sudden I felt like, you know, this is it, you know. I feel like this is what death feels like. I'm gonna die. And I had that thought go through my mind. And
Wow, at 11.
at 11. And it was like, and I felt like my life was over.
But this is you and your sisters.
Me and my sisters, yeah, my sisters were down. They were laying on the floor with their pillow and kind of, you know, you can see they were really uncomfortable, but they were kind of like almost gone, right? So then I'm starting to go unconscious. And then all of a sudden a voice pops into my head. It says, get up and go for the door. Go for the door.
Yes.
You know, so I woke up, I stood up, and it wasn't a panic voice. It was calm and
Yes.
you know, but you do it, you know, it was like a command.
Yes.
So I got up, you know, and I was intoxicated by the fumes. So it was hard for me to walk. I got by my sisters. One is an older sister, one is a younger sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to stop and help them. But I felt if I did, you know, it would be the death of us all.
Yeah, yeah.
So I didn't have much strength. So I made my way to the garage door,
Mm-hmm.
Went up the stairs right past the exhaust of the car, and then had trouble getting the door open. And I finally got the door open. And then I wanted to take a deep breath of that fresh spring air and fill my lungs up. And then I got out and I was so dizzy. My eyes were burning. I looked around and I said, who's going to hear me? I mean, this is 1970. Nobody works from home back then, right? but I tried to scream for help, and then just nothing came out. And then I looked again. You know, I tried to get, with every strength I had, I tried to get, and I just said, help, you know. I mean, it wasn't loud enough to wake a sleeping baby. And so then all of a sudden I felt these two hands come around to grab me and shake me, Robert, you know, and then I couldn't tell who it was. And I tried focusing my eyes, and, you know, it was my mother. And like a flurry of thoughts raced through my mind. You know, I mean, like, where have you been? You know, why did this happen to us? Why did you leave us alone?
Oh my God.
And then like the grave thought entered my mind, is like, were you going to finish me off? You know?
Yeah.
I thought that was it. But then that must have snapped her out of it, because then she went inside, called my dad. My dad came home, and, you know, the rest is history.
So why did she do that? What was her motive?
Well, she got married young. I mean, she had my sister when she was 17. She had me when she was 19. My dad, she didn't get along with my grandmother, my paternal grandmother. So they were having a hard time. Mm-hmm. And that's what she said triggered her, is that the relationship with her mother-in-law, actually. So you know, finally, like 5 years ago, I finally asked her, my sisters and I, and we never discussed it ever.
Wow.
During the whole time, no therapy for us, no nothing.
Oh,
So
geez.
just when I finished my book, just like 2 weeks ago, I finally called my sisters and I told them that I wrote a book. I didn't want them to be surprised. And then we finally talked about it for the very first time in over
2 weeks ago, Robert. Two
yeah,
weeks
over
ago.
40 years. Yeah, 40 some years, we finally talked about it.
So no therapy.
Nothing. So the therapy was self-therapy. I had to figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
So the remnants of that really, you know, it was really difficult because when I was a young child, I was very sick. So my mother would always take care of me. I had really bad asthma.
Yeah.
So she would always nurture me and care for me and look after me. And then, you know, have her do this. It was very, you know, it really shook you to the core. And I didn't even realize it shook me, but it came out in my behavior.
Yes.
So,
wow. Robert, you're telling me and I'm scared like hell. I'm, you know, and that voice you heard must have been the voice of God, you know, telling you, I don't know if you're a believer or persons listening is a believers, but it's not your time. It wasn't your time. And even though even though a lot of things happen to you, circumstances, or to people listening to this show, you know, there's only one thing I can say that can come from that it makes you stronger. And that people say, why me? Why me?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, Bob Proctor and the persons that we follow always say, why not me?
Mm-hmm.
It's not really to ask why me, it's why not me? You were chosen for that in order to be able to help others.
Right, right, exactly. And I really believe that now, especially with what happened with my girlfriend. But, you know, what I went through with my mom and all the stuff I went through in my life, it's not to say that what I went through is any worse than anybody else. You know, maybe somebody's father slapped them for the first time, and in the theory of relativity, maybe that's as devastating for that person as what had happened to me. You know, so maybe my level of, you know, that I need to be broken down or what I needed to go through was more severe, you know, or more traumatic appearing than what somebody else goes through. But it's all relative. We all go through our own things.
Yes.
But what I realized is and I know so much more now than I did back then or even 5 years ago about why stuff happens. And this world isn't what we think it is. And I think that's part of the problem, is that we're living in this third dimensional world, but we're interdimensional beings. You know, we're much more than this world. We
are.
Yes. So it's kind of like taking a square peg and jamming it in a round hole. You're going to have some problems.
You're going to have problems. So forgiveness, Robert, you're telling me that you had Thanksgiving with your mother just the other day.
Yes.
Somebody else might have said, to hell with her. I don't want to.
Right. But the forgiveness part, it's not so much for my mother as it is for the person that's forgiving. Yeah. So it was really for me to be able to forgive, because if I hold on to that judgment, if I hold on to that hatred or whatever,
it will consume you.
It will. So that's not really affecting my mother, you know, it's affecting me.
Yes.
So we're taught to, you know, get revenge or be vendetta or something like that, or, you know, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. But, you know, it's really, if you really look at it on a much deeper level, you know, those Amish people years ago when they had that shooting at the school, you know, they forgave those people who, you know, it's like, wow, how could you do that, right?
How could you do that?
But that's their heart and that's their understanding. That's where we all have that inside of us. So if we want to continue to grow, you know, just let it go.
Let it go, Robert.
It doesn't matter, really. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah. It consumes you, you know, the hate, the revenge, the plotting, the conniving. It consumes you. And how do you want to live? It's a question that we need to ask ourselves. Do you want to live like that for the rest of your life?
Yeah, you just have to let it go. And you have to put yourself in their shoes a little bit, even though it's hard, you know, because, you know, you tried killing me, you know, I don't like you. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. And it's like, you know, okay, well, I can certainly take that approach and I have every right to. You know,
Of
my
course,
sisters kind
of
of
course.
take that approach a little bit on and off, you know, but I have every right to do it, you know, and
Of course,
everybody would
of course.
understand me perfectly. But why
Yeah.
don't I go beyond that and try to
Mm-hmm.
grow even more, you know, and have
Yeah.
another experience and
Yeah.
really come to terms to forgive it. And I'm going to tell you, it didn't take me a year or two. It took me a long time. I mean, it took me 20
Of
years,
course.
but
Oh, wow.
I understand more now than I did in the last 5 years. But when I came to grips with it, then it's fine, you know.
So you are a parent now. You have 4 beautiful children. You have a lovely wife. After going through an experience like that, how do you now relate with your kids?
Well, I promised myself when I had kids, before I had kids, I never hit my kids, you know,
Yes.
no matter what. I mean, even if it means letting the leash out and letting them go, whatever, let them have their own experience, that's fine.
Yes.
But I would never hit my kids. I made that promise to myself. And I've lived up to that promise. I mean, it was easy, really. I mean, I've got a good wife, very good wife, beautiful wife, and she's really good with the children. So
Yeah.
that helps, you know.
Yeah.
But I just try to tell them that the most important thing is you inside of you. You know, it's
Yeah.
what you believe and what you feel in your heart. You know, it's not how you look, you know, or what people think about you. It's how you love yourself and what you think
That's
of
right.
yourself. That's the most important thing.
Yes.
Society is all backwards.
Oh, that's another topic, Robert. That's another topic.
That's another.
That's another topic. Is it, do you, how many girls and boys do you have?
I have a 24-year-old, 22-year-old girls, and then a 19-year-old boy, and then a 15-year-old girl.
Oh, they're all grown and nice.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
lovely. That's lovely.
I started when I was 10. Yeah.
You started with? I love the maths. I love the maths. Yeah, you look it. You look it too. Now you were telling me earlier before we started the show about your wife and her health condition. I want you to share, if you don't mind, a bit about that. Being a husband, a man, and a father. And obviously you love your wife.
Yes.
And you say you have a beautiful wife. There are few men that, to me, say those things about their wife. You know, they don't recognize the woman in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to look them in the eye or to say publicly, I have a beautiful wife. So I know you love your wife and you cherish her. And especially given your history, your experiences, you know, you're going to be coming at her and your new family or your family with a different mindset because you have grown and you're still growing. What can you share with persons in terms of having a loving relationship with your wife, being a good father, being a good man first to begin, especially after going through, as you said, the relativity of your circumstances, your experiences? Do you understand what I'm asking?
Yes. Yes, I do. I think you have to know yourself, and I think you have to know your limits, and you have to be able to harness those thoughts. And so, for example, if I get upset at my children, instead of trying to solve the problem right then and there when we might be both upset, or I might be upset, what I do is I just leave. You know, I go to my room or something and talk to them.
You go to your room.
Yeah, right. I try to do everything in a calm mind. So I try to be level-headed about it. I mean, yeah, sure, I'm not perfect yet. I do get carried away. I used to get carried away sometimes. I mean, I think we're beyond most of all that stuff now. But yeah, there was times when I would get upset. So I mean, I'm not perfect. Yeah. But I'm always working on it. You know, you have to be conscious of what you're doing when you're doing it. You have to be aware, like you said earlier, Corinne. So you have to be aware of your thoughts, how you're thinking, and how you're acting around your children and how you're acting around your wife.
Yeah. Yeah. So that awareness of yourself. So let's say somebody has gone through you know, a narcissistic father, and they don't know, a young man, you know, and they don't know how to relate in relationships because of the exposure that they have had. And they're having difficulty understanding who they really are, you know, who he really is. What sort of advice would you give to that person who has gone through, because you've gone through sexual abuse, we haven't touched on that yet, that's quite sensitive, but somebody who has gone through that mental abuse of a narcissist, what sort of guidance or tips can you offer to a young man like that who is trying to find himself, who is trying to discover who he really is, because he's also displaying those type of narcissistic behavior?
Right.
You know, young, looking at girlfriend, you know, trying to build relationships, you know, they're at that age. What would you say?
Well, first of all, you have to be willing to change. You have to be at that point where you're aware and that you want to change. And if you're there,
Yeah.
then what I would say, first of all, is that you have to realize that nothing else matters. Okay, what other people say or what other people do, it doesn't define you.
Who you are.
Who you are.
Yeah.
You have to go within yourself. And you have to love yourself, because you are a beautiful soul.
That's right.
So you have to understand that. I mean, really, it's just not lip service. You really have to go inside and know who you are. You have to believe in yourself. You can't rely on other people to take care of you or help you.
But that's selfish. But that's selfish thinking, Robert. People, anybody who is looking to focus on themselves, you know, spend time getting to know themselves, probably even shed, like we say, delete and block, shed the things that are negative. When you start building that awareness, people start saying, oh, you're too selfish, you feel you're too much, you're too good for us.
That's a program. That's a program. That's how society's been conditioned to think. So, and that's how I thought for a very long time, because when I was in a youth group, I was a youth group leader for, 19 years, and I would always help the kids, That was my main focus, right?
Right.
And I never focused on myself.
Right.
So really, how can we help other people if we don't help ourselves?
Exactly.
How can we love other people if we can't love ourselves? It is not selfish to love yourself. You have to love yourself, because if you can't love yourself, how are you going to love your wife? How are you going to love your kids? It's nonsense what people say today. First, you can't listen to society.
Yeah.
I mean, you turn on the news, it's all garbage. You know, just turn off that stuff and go within yourself. Feel from your heart. Like what do you feel?
Yeah.
You know, and ask, if there's something comes in your mind, ask yourself, are those my thoughts? And then how does that resonate in your thought, in your heart? Are those really
yours? Right. Are those my thoughts? You know, that's a key question. Is that mine? Am I really thinking that? Where is that? Where is that thought coming from?
Yes. Question.
Who influenced that? Yeah.
Yes.
That's a very, very good question. Ask yourself that. Analyze it. Don't super analyze, but ask yourself.
And getting back to the young man, narcissistic father, you know, you have to understand that, you know, that's your dad's problem. But to a certain extent, you had to go through that too, for whatever reason, to help you grow. Okay. Just don't look at it like it's totally your dad's problem. It is, but also you learned from that, and you needed it for whatever reason to grow. But with that being said, you know, you need to know that you matter. Okay. You need to know that you matter. You need to love yourself.
Yeah.
And you need to believe in yourself. Even though you don't feel like you have anything to believe in, you do. It's there.
Yeah.
It's just waiting to be uncovered. It's waiting for you to discover it.
That's right. I want to come back to when you said everything in your life is like turned to garbage. You could do nothing right. You know, and that happens. I mean, I remember going through that. Sometimes I still go through that. Like whatever you try, it's like, what the hell am I not doing right?
Right.
You know, and you see a lot of other people trying to be somebody. Everybody wants to be somebody. Everybody wants to carry out their purpose or discover their purpose. And They're trying things. They get inspiration, ideas, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I love that. I have a passion for that. I'm going to do this. And it's like nothing is working out and you feel like a complete failure. And of course, society is there to help you feel like a failure.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
That's what they're there for. I mean, how much they love you. I mean, they're right there to tell you, you're a failure, you're no good, nothing you do, go find a job, go do this. They want to, they're actually dictating to you what you should do based on their own life.
Conformity, yeah.
Yes. What is your take on that? For somebody, I mean, especially after going through that whole, I feel like I'm nobody, nothing I do works out, everything is a failure.
You have to stop judging and you have to stop comparing yourself to other people.
Yeah.
So really, that's really the key for me is when I used to do that, because where are you setting the bar at? From somebody else, or are you setting it for yourself?
Yeah.
If you compare yourself to other people, it's not fair to you and it's not fair to them.
Yeah.
I have a great example. I met with my friend of mine. He's a doctor in physics, and I knew his parents. They guided me to the spiritual path a while ago. The man is he's a medical doctor himself, and he was into all these many different spiritual paths. And every time I talked to him, I was just 30 years ago, I was just amazed like what this man knew and how spiritual he was. And I was just kind of in awe of the man. I looked up to him. But talking to his son, who's now 40 something years old, he told me that when he was growing up, his dad used to hit him. He was sexually abused by him and his siblings by their aunt. And it was like, why? See, we don't know what's going on in people's lives. So we can't compare ourselves to people, or we can't really even, you can look up to people, but don't say, I want to be like them. Be like you.
Don't sensationalize them. Yes. Don't put them up on a pedestal and say, oh yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just believe in yourself. Don't judge. Don't compare to yourself. What you have inside you, you just haven't discovered it yet. That's all. It's there. So maybe you're going through all this stuff that turned to garbage for a reason. Maybe you're not paying attention. Maybe you're not listening to the call. Are you listening to all the other things in your life that's going on? If you hear something inside, or you have a feeling in your gut or your heart, are you paying attention? If something tells you should go over here, are you going over there?
Yeah.
I mean, are you paying attention? And if you're not, you might have to continue to go through these.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it could be something for your own growth that you need to go through all this. Look at all the stuff that I went through, and there was more. I didn't put it all in there, but there was more. So all of that stuff I needed, because it was kind of like what a friend of mine says, it's like whack-a-mole, right? I got to whack you, to knock some sense into you. So I needed all of that to really, because it's kind of like a constant pounding, right? If you want to break something, you got to hammer and you're nailing it, right? And eventually the thing is going to crack.
It's going to crack.
So I needed I was so hard that I needed a lot of nailing, not a hammering, right? So eventually I cracked. That was it, and that's when things really started to change.
Wow.
So it's okay. Don't judge yourself and don't judge what you're going through. Just accept it, embrace it, and then go forward.
I love when you said that some people are so hard. Yeah. We're so hard. We're not listening. We're stubborn. We're obstinate, because there are people there are people who love you. And you mentioned that too in the bio that I was reading before. I know God sends the right people in our lives, just in the right time. I mean, I am so aware of things, Robert. It's amazing. I look at everything. I ask, whoa, and I'm thankful. I was in hospital a couple of days ago, just came out last night, did a couple of health checks, procedures. And after going through that, I was like, oh my Jesus, what can I learn from this experience? Patience, because I've been asking him for patience. I was surrounded by a lot of sick people with cancer, a whole lot of other things. And I was just looking at them, I'm like, geez, what can I learn? I made friends. I came home last night and I was just so glad to be in my bed. I was like,
Mhm.
thank you, God. I love my bed. I love my pillow. I love the fan in my room. I
Yes.
love the bathroom.
Yeah.
I was just,
Grateful for everything.
I was just so grateful. And somebody might say, are you crazy? Yes, I am crazy in love with having the things that I have, because when I wasn't in my own comfortable space, it was hard, but I had to adjust.
Mhm.
I had to adjust because I didn't know how long I would have been there. I actually spent more time than I should have been there. I didn't plan for that, and things happen. And I'm like, Lord, why is this happening? Okay, there must be a reason. And I just kept asking and talking and realizing and meeting people. And I'm like, my God, so there are people who don't look for the good in the things. They're so hard, Robert, that they're just caught up in
Yes.
themselves.
They're caught up in themselves, and they're caught up in like the program of society. So like if
Yes,
you get cancer or something like that, people want to say, oh, you got
yeah,
cancer, poor
yeah,
baby, you know, you
yeah,
have it or whatever.
yeah.
But really it doesn't help you, you know, to
Mm,
start thinking that way and to be negative. Okay.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
you're falling into a trap, really, because it
yeah,
goes back to your thoughts and how you think. Now
mhm,
they know, I know Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about it, you know, epigenetics, and you can turn your genes on and off, right? So he had people come to some of his seminars that, you know, have, you know, that are in wheelchairs or have, you know, diseases, and all of a sudden you change your personality, and you know, you change your reality,
yeah,
and you have to change your personality if you want a new reality.
yeah,
So people
yeah,
are cured instantly, you know? So it's kind of
yeah,
like we have this belief system that, and that's what it really comes down to, is people's belief systems, how they were raised, what they were taught to think, how they were taught to feel. People think they think for themselves, but really they hold on to a belief system that is really doesn't fit into who we are. You know, it's
yeah.
really a false belief system. So in
That's
order for
right.
people want to change, they have to reevaluate the belief system and create a
Yeah.
new belief system.
You know, Bob calls those things paradigms, those old
Yes, yeah,
habits,
absolutely. Their
those
paradigm.
old things that are just, and just like how we say, what is the phrase? Old habits die hard.
Right,
They
right.
really die hard because they're there to stay. And if you try to change anything, they're like, what are you trying to do?
Yeah,
Are you
right.
trying to get rid of us? Hell no, that ain't
Mhm.
happening. And so
It's
they're gonna fight you and
absolutely
bring you right back. Bring you, just like how he talks about a plane. When it's on autopilot, it's just gonna bring you right
right.
back.
Right, exactly. Everything that you do. I have a great example for that, if you'd like me to
Yeah.
share, about the paradigms and about being out of your comfort zone. So my daughter was going to school in Spain, which she did all on her own for a
Wow.
semester. And she traveled around Europe before then. And then she went and she thought she could come back and then renew her visa and then go, right?
Yeah.
Um, but what happened, she's 2 weeks into her school year and she got a scholarship on her own, a $25,000 scholarship from Buick.
Whoa. Mm-hmm.
So she's there at school in Spain. And then we get the phone call saying that, you know, Mom, they want me to leave school because my visa, I don't have my student visa.
Wow.
And she never got it. She thought she could just write on her passport, which was her mistake. But and then she said, I'm going to have to leave and I'm going to lose my scholarship for school and that's going to be it, you know? So, I mean, my wife was devastated. I was devastated. My daughter was devastated.
Yes.
So you're in that feeling, right? So you have that feeling like you're getting caught up in like, oh my God, you know, what's going to happen? You know, this is
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah. Doom and gloom.
My
Yeah.
wife's crying a little bit and I can feel myself, you know, and listening to all of that stuff about Proctor and everything, right? So it's like, okay, I told my wife, I said, okay, we're going to feel like this right now today, but
Yeah.
tomorrow we're going to figure out a solution.
That's right.
Because when you step out of your comfort zone, when you're getting that feeling, right? Like, oh my God, it's like your brain is releasing that cortisol because you're so
Yeah.
used to that, right? So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that comfort zone. So you're in your
Yeah.
comfort zone. So your brain is actually releasing that chemical. So
Yes.
you stay there. So
Yeah.
when I had
Yeah.
the thought of no, we're going to figure a way out
We're
of
gonna
this.
figure it.
That's when
Yeah.
that's really uncomfortable, like what you were saying, right? So
Yeah.
it's like you're standing naked on the 50-yard line in a football stadium. That's how uncomfortable it is.
Yeah.
But that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
So the next day I told my wife, okay, I told my daughter, I said, ask them if they'll give you 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
And first thing I did was create the image in my mind. So I saw my daughter with a letter hugging her friend
That's
saying,
right.
hey. So then I told her, ask for 2 more weeks so that you can stay there. So she did. And she said, okay, I got 2 more weeks.
That's the beginning. That's the beginning, Robert.
Yeah, that was the beginning. So, and then I said, okay, so now we got to go to this Spanish consulate. So she made an appointment with the Spanish consulate, and me and my wife went.
Yeah.
And she FedExed her passport from Spain to us so we could go there and try to get it.
Yeah.
I didn't really think it was going to work. That flashed in my mind, but I didn't care. I was going to try it anyway.
Anyway. Mm-hmm.
Right. So we went there, and the guy said, what are you guys doing with her passport? She's not supposed to be in Spain without her passport. And they gave us some information about what they can do. They said it's going to take, about 6 to 8 weeks for her to get her student visa, and that wasn't going to work.
No.
She said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this appointment off the books just so they don't even know it. She said, if your daughter's in Spain right now, if she wants any kind of chance to go back to school, she's got to get out of there by Saturday. So like 2 days, she's got to get out. One day she's got to get, it was 2 days, it was Thursday and Saturday. She's got to get out. And they said if she doesn't get out, and even if she gets her student visa, the 90 days is going to be up, then she has to wait 6 more months. So I called my daughter and I said, Mia, you got to get out of there and you have to get back home as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. And so she came back on that the next day on Sunday. She made an appointment for the consulate on Monday. We went down there, me and her went down there, and they said, well, it could take a while for you to get your thing. So we just made every effort that we did, even though I didn't think it was possible to go down there. I went anyway. I was just following it. I was just going with it.
Yeah.
So then she got a call on Thursday, 4 days later, saying that she got her student visa. Yeah. So it was awesome. So.
Oh my God.
So if I didn't go down there, what I realized was that if I didn't go down there, and I thought, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't. First of all, they saw me and they knew the situation, right? So that probably helped. But I wouldn't have gotten that other information. Like if she stayed past Saturday, she's not getting back in anyway. So you have to be able to exhaust every possibility in the process.
But it's more than that, Robert. You know what I believe in? I believe in just taking the step.
Yes.
And when Source, God, whoever sees that you have taken that leap of faith, the universe just says, hell, he's going for it. We need to line things up.
Right. Right. We both have to do our part.
Yeah. You just need to take the step.
Yes.
Forget about whether it works or not. And the universe is going to just say, Jesus, he's going for that shit. He's going for that. No, we need to do something. because whether or not he's not stopping. He's like a raging bull. He's not stopping. So we need to put things in place.
Right, exactly. So, I created the image in my mind. I charged it with that emotion. And then I made the decision that I was going to do it. Nothing was going to get in my way.
That's all you need. That's all you need to make that decision, and everything else is going to line up.
Right.
There's some people that have met, Robert, that the ducks have to line up in a row first before they can do anything. I am just so not into that.
You're going to be waiting sometimes a long time.
You're going to be waiting like forever.
Right.
I'm just like, this is crap. I am not waiting for everything. I'm like just going for it. And as I go along, as things happen, I'm just going to roll with the punches. I'm just going to roll with the punches.
That's right.
And learn as I go along. What if I fall? I just get up.
That's right.
I would know what to do next time. And I just keep doing until I get to where I want to go. The main thing is that I keep, like you said, that image in our minds of what we want.
Right.
This is what I'm coming for. This is what I'm going to get.
Yes.
At the end of the day, this is what I am here for that. This is it. That's all you see. That's all you know. You don't see anything else. You don't know anything else. You just know that.
Exactly. And if you go off track, and that's what happens to a lot of people when they want to create a reality or you want to manifest something in your life.
Yeah.
We have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of those are the same from the day before. Wow. So the definition of insanity is trying to change and then you're thinking the same thoughts, right? It's impossible.
It's impossible.
So when you talk about just staying focused like that, that's exactly what you have to do. Because if you start thinking about other things, so if you want to do like an affirmation, I call them affirmations, which is an
Yes,
affirmation with
affirmation.
emotion. But,
Yeah, I like that.
so if you do that, you know, okay, I'm going to want to manifest this, and then you go back, you know, 20 minutes later, start thinking negative and all that, you can't do that. You have to start changing the way that you think about everything. It's just not like during the time that you're doing it, but it's all the time. It's
Yeah,
like
and you're
planting a seed
confusing.
and then taking it back out of the ground again. Oh, it's not growing,
That's
you know?
right. That's confusing. You're confusing
Right.
the universe with what you want to do. So,
Yes.
and if you, and like you said earlier, if you change your thought and you come in with negative thoughts, that's exactly what you're going to get. Whatever you
Absolutely.
think is exactly what takes form. So
Absolutely.
if you change it, you're like, but wait a minute, didn't he say he won this? No, he says he won that. What the
Right.
hell does he want?
So yeah, so once you create the reality, then you've created it, right? So all you have to do is get in line with it. So that frequency, you got to be able to ride on that frequency, get in line
Yes.
with the frequency. It's out there. You know,
Yes.
it's kind of like docking a boat in a slip, right? If you can't go this way or that way, but you got
Yeah.
to just get in line, right? You got to be on the same frequency, and then
That's
you're going to
right.
get it.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Robert, I see your book behind you. We're talking so much about things in your
Yes.
book, and let's have a look at that phoenix. Yeah,
Yes.
beautiful. So where can we find that? It's on Amazon, is
It's
it?
on Amazon. Yes. Yeah, you
Hold
can
on
just
one
type
second.
in.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna go online here. Just give me a second. And
Type in the
I'm gonna bring it up and show it on show it on a screen share here so I can make sure that people find you. So let's see here now. Share screen. Okay, are you seeing that?
Yes.
Right. So tell me the title.
Suffering ends when awakening begins. Oh.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
Beautiful. So this is you.
That's me.
Beautiful phoenix. Why the phoenix?
Well, it was actually a friend of mine, Anna's idea. Because the last chapter she called like Phoenix Rising. So I was thinking about another idea for the cover, but this seemed to be a better idea after talking with her.
Yes.
That all the stuff that you went through, you go through it, come out of the fire and be reborn. And it's reborn in a way of thinking, a new way of thinking, really, and a new way of living.
That's right. And you have it in 3 formats. You have the Kindle, the hardcover, and the paperback.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. How has your book been doing so far? What are sort of the reviews you've been getting?
I don't know what I've gotten so far. It actually just went on the market yesterday.
Oh, it's
on
new.
Amazon yesterday, yeah.
Oh, goody, goody, goody. And you're on my show today. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah,
great timing.
Yes, great timing. This is beautiful. So
I'm sure I'm
congratulations.
selling millions of copies though.
See it in your mind. See it in your mind, and it will take form. Yes. See it in your mind. It's a beautiful cover. I love it.
Has my book now.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So this is your first book, right?
Yes, and it was very difficult for me because I'm not really a writer. So
most authors say that.
As a writer,
Most authors say that. I'm not really a writer, but here is the evidence.
I know. See, you still got those patterns, right? See, I said I'm not perfect yet.
The paradigms are after you, Robert. The paradigms are after you.
Yes.
Run.
I wrote the book because it really literally brought me back to life.
Yes, yes. Do you have a website?
Yes, it's crownrobert.com. It's still kind of in the process of getting worked on, but
that's okay. That's okay. It's beautiful. Yeah. And you know what I like about what you have done, which is what I encourage my clients to do, because I'm a self-publishing consultant.
Nice.
So I help persons I coach them into writing their books and publishing and marketing, etc. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that you have your book in 3D. So you have the flat image, the 2D, and the 3D version for promotional, because when you have it in 3D, it gives that real life, you know?
Yeah, it's really nice.
It is, it is. So I encourage persons to have, more than one sort of book cover format as well. So you have the
Yes.
flat and then you have the 3D. So this is beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. And it's pretty simple. You just, I mean,
Yes.
you don't need more than this.
Right. Yeah,
You're
it's very
fine.
nice.
Yes, it is very nice. And you have endorsement from Michael here.
Yes.
So you're good to go. So I mean, it's just a matter of, huh?
Pardon me?
I'm saying you're good to go. You just need to have some good marketing.
Yes.
You just have to have, because everything is about marketing. So people can purchase here as well.
Yes.
Yeah, nice. And of course, book you and you have press and media. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. Simple, easy. Nobody could miss it. I love it. Yes, I love it. So listen here, Robert, what are some final words that you want to share with, the listening audience? Is there any offer that you want to make to persons who may want to get your book, or I don't know, what sort of offer would you want to make?
Well, you know what? I really haven't had time to even think about it because I've been going back and forth with the cover. They just uploaded a new cover design today, a different color.
Okay.
And finally, it got on there just in time for you to click on it. So right before the show, I was approving the titles and stuff. So.
Oh, nice.
But I don't. There's nothing that I know of right now that I can do. I mean, I haven't even looked into it to be honest with you. But
that's fine.
I think if people got the book and they read the book, I honestly believe that, if they look at all the stuff that I went through in the book, and toward the end, it really shows how I turned my life around. And I think that it would be very useful for them or somebody that they know to read it.
Yeah.
And to understand that no matter what you go through in your life, realize that you matter. All right.
That's right.
You matter. You're important to this world, whether you think so or not, whether your parents think so or not, or your teacher or, your relatives or whatever. We're all part of source. We're all part of God, right? So we come from source. We come here to this 3D world to have an experience, and then we go back. It's like playing a part of the Play-Doh, right? So you take some Play-Doh out of the can, you roll it out, make some animals or stars, and then when you're done, you put it back. So we're like the Play-Doh, we're like the stars.
Yeah.
So people have to realize that they are God within themselves. So
we are.
We have to take off the veil of ignorance about that we've been programmed by society, by government, by religion.
Yeah.
Go within, empower yourself within, believe in yourself.
Yeah, but we are planted with these seeds. We are planted with these seeds, Robert.
Yes, we are.
We have the power within us.
Yes, we do.
When we were created, we have that power. We may not be able to point a finger and things happen, and or just by, well, I will tell you, the utterance of your words has power. Your words has power.
Absolutely. And in the book, Emoto's book, Messages from Water, if anybody has any question about your words not having power, you need to get that book.
Oh, tell us about that book again. Tell me, let me see if I can bring it up here.
I think it's Masaru Emoto, Messages from Water.
Messages from?
Water.
Watu?
Water.
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 Messages from Water. Is this it?
Excuse me. Yes. Yes, that's it. Yeah,
the first one.
Hidden Messages in Water as well.
Yeah.
So basically what
Masaru Emoto.
Yes.
Both of them are the same author.
Yeah, they're probably his. He probably wrote a couple, but it's like these crystals. They did a study with these crystals, right? So they would put something on there, like a piece of tape, or they'd send a message to it like ugly, or I hate you. And then the water crystal would be all deformed and ugly looking. But then if it said thank you or gratitude or I love you, then the water crystal would be beautiful.
Whoa.
So your thoughts and your vibrations affect things. So if your thoughts and your vibrations can do that to water, what are they doing to yourself?
I'll tell you, I'll even add to that. I remember seeing somebody sharing on Facebook our tears based on different emotions. So sadness, fear, happiness, and they had a certain imaging of it. I don't know, but it's like the same crystals, and you should see how beautiful it formed.
Right.
When we had happy emotions, you know.
Right.
It was just so amazing to see the whole kind of DNA formation sort of thing.
Right.
From happy, sad, fearful, you know, it's people don't realize that we are really living beings.
Yes, we are.
And energetic vibrational beings.
Absolutely. Because they take that away from us. They don't want us to understand that.
Understand that, yeah.
Because when we do, then we empower ourselves. So Max Spire said, and this is like my favorite quote. He said, there's been many battles throughout human history, but there's only been one war. And that's the war of the oppressing consciousness.
Yes, ourselves.
Suppress the consciousness that wants to be free.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, that comes like when Les Brown says, the enemy is within.
Right.
There's no enemy without. The enemy, right?
Right.
You're fighting your own self.
Yes. Corinne, you know what I'd like to do? You know what I'd like to give to people if they want to email?
Yeah.
I have something that I wrote up for myself about creating your own reality and how to manifest things. So there's like a 5-step process that I use. I would be more than happy.
Oh, lovely.
To people if they wanted to send it. It's just not as PDF file, something that I wrote, but if they look at it and they start practicing, I think, you know, I'm sure they can turn their life around.
That sounds beautiful. So you see, you found something really great to give away. So how can they get that? Do they email you?
If they can go to my website and just email me and say, may I have one of these?
How do we do that? Do we go where?
You can go to the
booking?
The booking, yeah, the booking is fine. Or just robert@crownrobert.com. It's fine.
Okay.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll add that when I'm, Yeah.
You know, he's got to put he's not finished yet, but he's got to put a contact button on there and all that. But yeah, just go to the booking request form and just put it in there and what you want, and I'll be more than happy to send that out.
Okay.
I think
so people consider they heard about it on Between the Lines, and if they can get a copy of that, what was it?
It's basically how to create your own reality, how to manifest things.
Yeah. Your tips on that. That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let me see if you have your handsome picture on this author page here. No, you don't.
Yeah.
It's not there, Robert. You don't have your handsome
pretty
picture.
white, so yeah, I'm very white.
You're very white, yeah. We got to do something about that. We got to put some color in there, Robert.
Like I said, I'm still working on it. I thought I had put the picture in there, but it didn't populate. So
that's all right. That's okay. We got you here. That's okay. That's okay. So we got you here on Zoom. We got you here on YouTube. So we know what you look like.
All right.
But thank you so much, Robert. I mean, we have been on this for about an hour and 15 minutes.
Really? Oh my goodness. Yeah. It was fun. We hardly touched anything, right?
Right. We were having so much fun. It was an eye-opener for me, you know, for you to share such an intimate and very painful moment in your life. And I can see it is still painful for you. You know, I don't know if anybody can ever really get over it as opposed to being able to cope and manage it. You know, and I think, and time, as they say, is the greatest healer. And, you know, time and sharing is also self-therapeutic. So I really want to thank you for being on the show. I'm going to send you the YouTube version of this so that you can use it on your website, etc.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and yeah.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very grateful to be on your show.
Yes, I'm grateful that you're still here with us, with the living, that you can share your experience. You have so many more lives to touch. Continue doing the great work you're doing. I expect to see more books from you, more work from you. I expect to see you back on my show again as a follow-up. Yes. And I'm anticipating that we would do more work together, you know, to be able to reach as many people because you have so much to share. Yeah?
Yeah. Yes. And I think it's great. I think all that stuff that we're going through, like you mentioned earlier, is that you know, why am I going through all this? You know, and for me, if I ask myself the same thing, well, everything that I went through in my life, I can use it right now to help other people.
That's right. That's right. We have a purpose, and we have to be responsible to that purpose.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
right. Thank you so much, Robert.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robert Crown. You're carrying a heavy name there, Crown.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Kiss your wife for me, hug up the kids.
Thank you.
Yes, and continue to love them. And I pray for others to continue to love you. Yeah.
Continued success for you as well.
Thank you. You take care and all the best.
Okay. Bye-bye.